It's your body mind. But is it you fully free to flow through that body mind? Does the information flowing through the navigational patterns of your body mind actually support who you really are and how you desire and deserve to experience life? It's you and it's your body mind, but is it really the true you? And is your body mind actually able to support that essence of your true self? You see, the self hasn't gotten to know its own essence independently of experience. And everything flowing in the body mind is information from what has already been experienced. And so a lot of times the body mind isn't navigating life optimally, and a lot of times the self actually has no idea about its own self essence because it's never gotten to meet itself independent of how the body mind is navigating life based on past experiences. So it is your body mind and it is you in the essence of yourself, but is it really you? Do you really know the you that you are? Can you meet the essence of yourself beyond anything you've ever known, and in that space find a greater sense of wholeness and wholeness, transcending being healed and ascending into loving liberation through conscious expansion? It's your body mind. So shouldn't you know about the content and connectivity flowing through trillions of networks beyond awareness? Shouldn't you know if all parts of yourself are connected? See, we move through these everyday moments and we base our awareness off of what we're aware of, right? But the majority of the body mind exists and operates beyond all conscious knowledge, direct perception, and immediate awareness. Your conscious mind is up here in awareness of each moment and a few pieces of information within the moment and a few parts of the self within the moment. But your body mind is actually storing every nanosecond of every experience you have ever encountered. Even ones that you don't remember, the body mind remembers. The body mind remembers the texture of the blanket that it was wrapped in when it was a few months old. The body mind remembers every sensation, every emotion, every pattern of movement, every pattern of response, every pattern of verbal narrative, every pattern of dialogue and story. The body mind remembers everything. The body mind remembers what it was like to begin walking and talking as a very small child when it did not know how to do that before. And ever since those early formative years of infancy and toddlerhood, the body mind has been meticulously recording every piece of information. And all of that data is stored inside of the body mind. But here is the most important and astounding miracle. The body mind doesn't care about what has already happened. And yet it's storing memories from every moment of your whole life flowing through trillions of networks. Why would the body mind store information from decades of experience flowing through a very vast library of data if it doesn't care about past experiences? It's because the body mind is like, I am here to support you by providing navigational patterns. I've gathered all of this data, okay? So imagine the body mind talking to the essence of yourself, and the body mind says, here you go, self. I've gathered all this information. Look it. I've been very, very, very observant. I've recorded every movement, every emotion, every feeling, every response, everything that anyone has ever said, anything that's ever happened, anything you've ever experienced, even the stuff you don't remember. I have recorded all of it and actually reorganized it into navigational patterns and navigational potentials. So now when you're moving through moments, you can have a sense of self, and you can be familiar with the things and the places and the people and the experiences around you. And now you can be aware of the different emotions you feel. Now you can have this library of words. You can talk and communicate. Now you can have these habits and these skill sets and these learned motor skills, and you can know how to ride a bicycle and prepare a meal and, clean stuff and do stuff and type and all these amazing skill sets, because I've recorded all the data from your whole life and stored it in navigational patterns, just because I love you and I want to support you. But the essence of self doesn't often know that it's different from the navigational patterns in the body mind. And when that happens, then the identity of self is actually completely based on these automated patterns and projections, where the body mind is actually just recreating what it's already experienced, because it's projecting these navigational interpretations of reality, and the self does not know itself independently of that. So once we can allow the self to be distinguished from the body mind, then the self can say, wow, body mind, thank you. Thank you for loving me enough to gather all this information from my whole life. Like, I couldn't, remember all these details if I had been constantly memorizing and trying, but body mind, thank you for having all these navigational patterns. Thank you for storing all this information from my whole life. Thank you for being there to support me. Thank you for helping me navigate my existence. But now I know that I'm a self and I am not defined by the navigational patterns. And now I understand the body mind isn't trying to store the past. It's actually trying to support how I navigate my life. And now I know that if I want to change my experience of myself, I can actually just distinguish who I am from the body mind and resculpt the patterns of navigation, rewrite how the past is being used in my body mind beyond awareness without needing to change the details of the past, just changing how the body mind is using that information to navigate life now. If you spend every moment of every day for your entire life, your whole life, you're spending every moment of your entire life inside of your body mind, experiencing everything through your body mind, then it's important that you have the power, the awareness, the tools, and the opportunity to explore how the wiring of your body mind is affecting the quality of your personal experience, the quality of your implicit health, and the quality of connection throughout all parts of your sacred soul essence. Out of all the details of life that might change with time, the one thing that never changes is the fact that you are experiencing all of life through the wiring of your body mind. And throughout all of the relationships and circumstances and situations and experiences that change throughout life, the one relationship that will always be a part of your 24/7 experience is the relationship you have with your own self. And that is completely dependent upon the supportive structures of the body mind. And so if you're spending your whole life through the body mind, if the body mind is affecting every moment of your entire experience for all of your life, and throughout all of your life, the only one being you will absolutely spend every moment of your whole life with is you and the essence of yourself, then it is important to ensure that the quality of content and connectivity in the navigational patterns of the body-mind are functioning at optimal capacity, and it is important to know that all parts of the self are fully connected with the self. It's important to be able to look inside of your own body-mind and know that your lifetime of memories are processed and that there's no stuck emotions or incomplete action patterns that might disrupt your life moving forward. And it's important to look inside the body-mind and know that your left and right brain hemispheres are fully connected and communicating in every moment. It's important to know that data from every year of your whole life is connected and has navigational patterns that can fully support your most authentic, truest self. It's important to understand the information that's flowing in unconscious memories and affecting you beyond awareness. It is important for the childhood self to be fully oriented with the adult that they grew up to be and the adult who is here now to care for them. And it is important for parts of the self from past experiences to be fully oriented with the self that they are now, especially independent of any undesirable navigational patterns generated during those past experiences. It is important for aspects of the self to be oriented with their own essence right here, right now, and for the body-mind to support that essence of self, to be oriented with its own existence, to be associated with its own self, independently of other prior relationships, other prior experiences, other past traumas, other past encounters, because the body-mind needs to know itself beyond the unconscious projections from the past, and the self needs to have a self-association with its own essence that does not need to be defined by those experiences. And the data created from those past experiences needs to be integrated and updated and improved and expanded in the content and connectivity that it now carries in the navigational patterns, so that life experience can grow and expand and not just stay on repeat. So it's important for the body-mind to support the self. It's important for the self to know what's happening in these trillions of networks and to be connected with the parts of self who are experiencing the navigation of all existence through those pathways beyond awareness. But there is no way for the self to go inside of the body-mind and look around through all of those libraries of information and be like, that's the area I'd like to rewrite. I noticed that there's some unprocessed experiences in this little library of data. I'd actually like to go in there and just kind of rearrange that, if you will, so it doesn't navigate my life based on what was experienced there and can just kind of have some better navigational patterns. So I'm going to shapeshift the content of that information a bit. And okay, let me go look around over here. I'm noticing those areas of the libraries are really far apart from each other. So the information here and the information here wouldn't be able to collaborate and communicate and connect. And there might be navigational patterns here and some here, but they're not able to work in harmony together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move those bookshelves over and have those navigational patterns be closer and have more connection with each other. And I'm going to rearrange the connectivity of those networks. But is there a way to do that? And is there a way to do that in a way that is so seamlessly magical and so effortlessly enjoyable and so divinely delicious that you can just play and have fun and enjoy the process and enjoy the journey and enjoy your loving presence and enjoy the magnificent divine miracles of your own existence? And is there a way to do it where you can actually look at the content and connectivity of all trillions of networks, not missing any of them, without looking at any past experiences? So even if the self might have been like, okay, I understand there's these trillions of networks. That's like a big number I can't comprehend. But yeah, okay, I'm on board with this. And there's like this content, information, and connectivity, the way that stuff's connecting and hanging out with each other, right? Okay, so if the past created that, then I need to go look into the past experiences and say, okay, where might have been some moments that could have maybe caused some disruption of navigational potentials, right? Moments where things happened that really didn't feel so good. Okay, in whatever way that might look like. And I need to go in and I need to dig up all these past experiences, and they're all from different time periods of life, and it's going to take a lot of time, and it's going to take a lot of work, and it's not going to be fun, and it's going to be hard to like stay focused on like where I am now and the navigational patterns I want, because I'm actually like digging into all this past stuff, and there's like so much. There's like several things from every single year and decades. Like that's a lot of stuff to look at. And okay, now that I've like found it and located it, like how do I rewrite it? Because that sounds like a lot of work. And you know, am I actually like able to change how the past affects me? And you know, if I go back into it, am I not just gonna like be, you know, re-experiencing it? And like, how does this actually affect me now? And like, okay, trillions of networks. Let's just not say we did. Right? Like, that's what the journey might look like. But what if it didn't have to look like that? What if there was just one technique where you could look into the content and connectivity of all trillions of networks without looking at a single detail of any past experience? Without looking at anything that's ever happened, ever. Nothing, ever. You don't have to go back into any of it. You don't have to consciously dig around and subconsciously pull up all these things you don't want to pull up. You don't have to do any of that. But in this process, nothing will be left behind. And this is really powerful, okay? If you have been following my journey, then some of what I'm about to share will make sense. And if you're not familiar with my personal story that's led to the work that I love to do today, please explore my Becoming Known Through Implicit Revelations documentary series. I share my story in a variety of different ways, and you can kind of explore the miracles that have led me to this exact moment where we're hanging out in a miraculous encounter. Once upon a time, my inner best friend, a previous version of myself, was experiencing a variety of implicit health challenges. And implicit health encompasses mental, emotional, behavioral, and action pattern habitual health challenges that can then affect physical health, because the navigation of the body-mind is impacting the regulation of the body-mind. And if the regulation is off, then there could be other physical health challenges that manifest as a result of it. And it was negatively impacting every other area of life, because the navigation of your body-mind affects your ability to do literally everything, including interact with other people, interact with your own self, have a connection between your mind and your body. Like everything that allows for the human experience is completely dependent on the navigation and regulation of the body-mind. And all of that was majorly disrupted for a very, very long time. We're talking over a decade. And nobody knew why or what to do about it. And that's what led to the beginning of the Implicit Revelations case study. But one of the most fascinating miracles of this journey was exploring how there are layers and levels of the body-mind in terms of information. And when there's information from the first 10 years of life, it's stored even deeper beyond awareness. Things are processed in a different way because the brain and the body are still developing. The navigational structures of the body-mind haven't developed yet. So things are being stored in a very different way because there isn't an existing structure to place them in. This is the beginning of the foundation. And so if something is disrupted in the beginning of the foundation, then it's going to affect how everything builds on top of that. And so something very miraculous happened and was discovered. Due to a unique formation of body-mind islands, there were actually individual states of consciousness that had been stuck in original formative stages of early neurodevelopment due to suppressed childhood trauma. And so this very unique brain and body had developed all these independent navigational systems of the body-mind. But there were all these parts of self flowing through all these hundreds and thousands and millions and billions of navigational networks, and all of this unprocessed stuff from past experiences, and none of it was known about. But it was affecting life because there was all these disruptions of navigation causing implicit health challenges. But there was no clue about the hidden, deeper realities. There was no clue about this disrupted attachment development, this disrupted neurodevelopment, these independently developed memory centers, these independently developed navigational regions, these aspects of the self who had never actually gone through neurodevelopment because they'd kind of been stuck there, if you will, stuck in this region of the body mind that had stopped developing, just held this information kind of frozen in place. But then all these other regions of the brain and the body mind kept moving on, but then there was all these disruptions. And so for over a decade, there were all these unique manifestations of health challenges. And when finally actually getting to the bottom of it, these age regressive states of consciousness began to manifest. And these very, very young states of consciousness were in their own aspect of personhood. And again, you can explore more about my personal journey. If you're like, oh, what the heck are you talking about? This just got really strange and unique. You can explore my documentary so you can be like, oh, this got more interesting. But I want to share with you just a little example of why this is important, why this matters, how powerful and potent it is, and how it really does affect everybody on planet Earth, whether we directly know it or not. And so any moment of unfulfilled attachment needs can cause a region of the body mind to have information that doesn't navigate life effectively, and or connectivity that reduces navigational potentials. And simultaneously, then there are aspects of the self flowing through those navigational patterns of information that are not able to experience unity with other parts of the self because there isn't connection. And they are subject to these very unpleasant navigational projections beyond awareness. Because the navigational projections of the body-mind are not just happening in our thoughts, in our feelings, in our action patterns, that impulse, that urge, that skill set, that learned motor skill. That is a surface clue of what's actually happening deeper in the body-mind. Through my Implicit Revelations case study, I discovered that approximately 99.08% of inner realities exist and operate beyond what we can immediately perceive. That's a lot of stuff that we don't know about, and it is affecting the essence of our true self beyond awareness. And there might be surface clues, again, through thoughts, feelings, emotions, inner dialogue, narrative, stories, responses, habits. But there's so much more happening beyond awareness, okay? And so my inner best friend was actually experiencing life where there were like a dozen age-regressive states of consciousness, but they were all hidden in the body-mind. And so while the self was up here going through over a decade of experiences, over a decade of struggling with implicit health and having no clue why or what to do about it, there was over a dozen distinct states of consciousness, infinite aspects of the self flowing through all of this suppressed stuff beyond awareness. None of that was known about. But it was there the whole time. And once that was uncovered and transformed and healed and uplifted and lovingly liberated and reunified and expanded and nourished, everything changed. In this first example that helps bring to light the importance of how much of the body-mind is existing and operating beyond awareness, how parts of the self are flowing through that information and being affected by it beyond what we can immediately perceive and be consciously aware of. For over 15 years, there were these aspects of self flowing through these regions of the body-mind that were not known about. And once they were unveiled, and once the body-mind was transformed, and once those parts of the self were reunified, then those implicit health challenges that had been intensifying for 15 years that hundreds of other modalities couldn't understand or resolve, all of them were completely transformed. A second example of the importance of this and how there's so much more going on inside the body-mind that we can immediately perceive, and how important it is to bring this to light and to have the chance to unveil and transform the regions of the body-mind, to improve and expand the navigational patterns and potentials, to reunify and welcome home all these parts of the self. That after all of that was healed and transformed, I actually encountered a very unique form of amnesia where I could not remember my entire life. I have since then recovered and reorganized and rewritten all of the data from my entire life to resculpt the navigational patterns of my body, mind, and reunify parts of the self. But during those times when I could not remember my entire life, all of the data from my entire life was still flowing through my body, mind, and there were still parts of the self who were flowing through that data beyond awareness. And so there's all these trillions of networks, and all of them had all this information, but none of it was connected. But there were still parts of the self that were experiencing life through that data beyond awareness and being affected by it. And since healing all of that exclusively through social self-engagement practices, especially Mirrorthons, through my own inner work, independent of all external guidance or assistance, now that I've rewritten all of it, the experience of the navigation of my body, mind, and the experience of my own essence of self is completely transformed. But in that time when there was total amnesia and I couldn't remember my whole life, all that data was still there and it was still affecting parts of myself beyond awareness. But I could not immediately reach into any of that information because it literally wasn't accessible. There was complete amnesia. There was absolutely no way to look inside of my own body, mind, to look in and see these parts of my self essence, to have the opportunity to transform the information and the way that data connects, to transform the styles of navigation and reunify parts of the self. There was no way to do that at that time. But then there was, because Mirrorthons! It's your body, mind, and you deserve to know what is actually happening in the trillions of navigational patterns beyond awareness. But you can't find that out through just the conscious mind. You can't find that out by going into past experiences in a lot of traditional approaches to implicit health. If you're talking about stuff and going through this experience of digging into past experiences to try and make sure they're processed, you're still not looking at the trillions of navigational patterns in the body mind. You're still not unveiling the actual content and connectivity that is affecting the well-being of the navigation of your human experience and affecting the well-being of the essence of your soul. And so you deserve to know. And once you know about the content and connectivity and the trillions of navigational patterns of your body, mind, you deserve to have infinite power within you to transform any of it, all of it, any of it, effortlessly and enjoyably, without looking at any of the particular data existing, without looking at any of the past experiences that created it. Through the subconscious unveiling and transformation techniques, I serve as a guide to use Mirrorthon journeys to unveil the quality of content and connectivity in trillions of navigational patterns in the body-mind. These techniques are so precise and so profound. They're somewhere between a brain spotting technique and a shamanic soul retrieval process, is kind of how I describe it. But it's a brand new concept, a brand new technique that I have spent over 10,000 hours developing and perfecting over the last half a decade. And it has changed my life in ways beyond anything I can ever possibly describe, and continues to do so. Because within 5 to 10 minutes, I can find the parts of my brain that aren't fully connected. I can find the parts of my left and right brain hemispheres that are still bridging networks through the corpus callosum. I can find the activation of unprocessed past experiences. I can find the parts of myself that I'm not fully unified with, and within minutes, I can transform it completely. And when doing this over and over again through all of the different navigational networks for all parts of the self, then the way that all past experiences are stored, the way all navigational potentials are flowing, the way all parts of self are connected, completely transforms. And there is such an experience of loving liberation through conscious expansion that will absolutely blow you away. And I am so excited to share it. Play and have fun and enjoy the process and enjoy the journey and enjoy your loving presence and enjoy the magnificent divine miracles of your own existence. Now I know that I'm a self and I am not defined by the navigational patterns. And now I understand the body-mind isn't trying to store the past. It's actually trying to support how I navigate my life. And now I know that if I want to change my experience of myself, I can actually just distinguish who I am from the body-mind and resculpt the patterns of navigation, rewrite how the past is being used in my body-mind beyond awareness without needing to change the details of the past, just changing how the body-mind is using that information to navigate life now. So it's important for the body-mind to support the self. It's important for the self to know what's happening in these trillions of networks and to be connected with the parts of self who are experiencing the navigation of all existence through those pathways beyond awareness.